A video 9+ months in the making, my first collaborative music marathon with my good buddy iNDiGO. I listened to every song on Sable Valley. Alright, I'll just press play on this one.
Wait, hold on a minute. Let me see the spreadsheet again.
Sure.
There's one missing, but it's like you can't find it anywhere anymore, so.
Where? Or what song?
Grime, it was Arcus, because it was a collab with Graves.
Oh.
So naturally that was taken down.
I remember this track. Oh, it's still up.
Oh, it is? Oh, I guess it's
Sable
only
Valley Records.
I guess it's only on his specific SoundCloud then.
February 1st, 2019. Don't tell me it was the first release. Imagine if it was the first release. We're jumping a bit ahead of ourselves, so let's rewind it just a little bit. Sable Valley is a record label that was founded by Grime back in 2019. If y'all don't know who Grime is, Grime was a massive trap producer, but still massive. If y'all have not checked out his first and second studio albums, there are some massive names on there. But we're gonna fast forward to 2019. Henry, also known as Grime in this case, announced the founding of his record label Sable Valley in February 2019, stating, "Since the inception of Grime, I've had this goal in the back of my mind to start my own label. My Halloween mixes have always been an outlet for me to curate and showcase new music. But the natural next step was for me to start my own label. My whole life I've been obsessed with the process of searching for and finding what's next. And this is a way for me to use my platform to highlight emerging talent that I believe." I guess while we're also doing introductions, I'll quickly introduce my buddy iNDiGO. If y'all don't know them, the name might sound more familiar as the It's Pizza Time person. If you're on Instagram, they used to comment It's Pizza Time on a ton of artists' Instagram posts. They haven't really been doing it as of late because Instagram and Meta and Facebook, whatever, keeps like shadow banning them. In the music scene though, they have started their own record label known as Antithesys, which you might have heard of because we've done some releases for the Simulcats project over on the record label, and they're also half of the HMEWRK alias. Anyways, last year, iNDiGO actually reached out to me on potentially doing a collaborative marathon together, and the one that they were really wanting to do was Sable Valley. Sable Valley is probably a record label that they've been following since almost its inception, and it's also a record label that has been on my radar since its inception as well. As those of y'all who follow me know, I'm really into trap music. Although after the big trap boom, I would say in the 2016-2017 era, I really haven't found many great ways of consistently finding trap music and trap artists, although part of it was also just my falling out of it, for a lack of better words. I didn't stop liking trap as much, but at least the main music sources that I was consuming from just was not releasing a lot of trap music. That and the changing landscape of electronic music going away from trap music and leaning more towards the different trends of the time just meant that trap music was kind of going into a bit of a lull. For those of you who have been following my music marathons, I actually did a music marathon last year as well for Elysian Records, which was a more classic trap music record label. The crossover between Elysian Records and Sable Valley is not to say non-existent, but completely separate worlds from each other. The artists that thrived from both record labels are from completely different eras. The way music thrived and was shared and got viral was completely different. And I guess the styles of trap music have also greatly changed since back then as well. I think the greatest and slightly reductive way of comparing trap music then to trap music now is that back then trap music was more of like trap beats but with a bit more production to them, whereas Sable Valley has taken trap music and then maximized the hybrid trap approach. That being, it's trap music, there's a lot of bass, but there's also a lot of other elements that give it a bit more grit, excitement, and energy. That isn't to say that they only release trap music. They actually release quite a wide array of music, but the main defining genre, especially from when the label had started, was trap. See, I was thinking about it earlier. I was just like, I think it's interesting that Grime's first appearance on the label is a G. Jones edit of an off-label song. But yeah, that explains a lot. Very unfortunate. These clips that I'm intertwining in between the video are actually excerpts of a nearly 22-hour recorded marathon. Not in one session, by the way. Like I said, this has taken like 9 months. But I recorded nearly the entire marathon with iNDiGO and have cut out some of the most important parts and a couple funny parts that I've saved towards the end. And before I go any further, there is a bit of an elephant in the room. Kind of. If we're being completely honest, the average fan doesn't necessarily even need to know about this blip in history. It's a very unfortunate one if you want to be like a historian of Sable Valley. And while I'm going to be fair to keeping accuracy to the history, it's also, when compared to what Sable Valley has become, genuinely a blip in the radar. So let's get it quickly straight out of the way. I actually covered about this situation years back when I made a video about the Aerocord allegations and also the Graves allegations. But the very first release on Sable Valley was a collaboration with Arl, Grime, and Graves. Allegations had came out about Graves that ended up being true and confirmed by Graves himself. The release was later pulled from Sable Valley, and proceeds from the release were donated to different charities. The fallout afterwards led to many artists expressing disappointment towards Graves, the reaction most significant at the time being from R.L. Grimes, who not long prior had released a collaboration with Graves on Sable Valley. R.L. Grimes commenting, "I'm horrified and disheartened to hear the recent news regarding Graves, and I appreciate and admire the bravery it took for the victims to speak out. I have zero tolerance for this kind of conduct." So before iNDiGO even got onto the project, I'd already started doing a massive list and research into the Sable Valley project, and originally I had Jackal's Christ Person Woman God as the first release on Sable Valley. In the previous clip, I had also mentioned that I was interested how an RL Grime edit was the first release. But one thing that I do find pretty interesting about that release was that it wasn't even a Sable Valley exclusive release. It was a collaboration with a different record label. We got this track up next, which is unique because it is a co-release with Illusory Records.
Oh, the G Jones. Yeah. The amount of times I've heard this motherfucker live, bro.
0 tracks? Did they just repost it? Is it just G Jones? Oh, it's just G Jones. No EPROM is here.
Illusory Records is G Jones' label, but it's mainly just for G Jones releases, with a few exceptions. But it's mainly just like, yeah, G Jones.
Trap music back in its lull, and I would say still is kind of segmented for lack of better words. There isn't really a main trap hub where you could go and get all of your trap music kicks. There's definitely certain genres of music that you can immediately think of like the main titans of that genre when it comes to the artists or to the record labels, and in this example I'm more so leaning towards record labels. Back then with dubstep, one would probably say it was Never Say Die, Rotten Records, at least until it became Subsidia. But aside from Elysian Records, and I guess one could argue Lowly Records, and Lowly is also a whole different universe of its own, trap music is very individualistic in certain senses. But where I'm trying to lean into this is that there isn't necessarily a larger entity at work or at play that helps push the scene forward, but it's a lot of these smaller, and I put that in quotations, trap acts that are pushing each other and the sound forward. Where I'm going with this is that R.L. Grime starting his record label gives him the opportunity to collaborate with other artists that have also started their own record labels. And in this case, because they all have the rights to their own music, I can only imagine that it's so much easier to work together to release edits, to co-release. I think one could even argue that the label names on these tracks are more symbolic than it has anything to do with like copyright and licensing. Anyways, I just think it's cool. I think it's interesting. And this isn't the first and only example on Sable Valley. There's actually 3 or 4 other examples of co-record label releases. But the last thing I'm going to say is let's just recap 2019 really quickly. 2019 was a very important and integral year to Sable Valley. The reason for that is because they only had 9 releases. But when you look at the names of the artists that were released, there's some very important key names that you're going to want to keep an eye out for later instances in the video. The first and obvious one is R.L. Grime, the owner of the label. One of the interesting facts that I'm going to throw in really quickly, and as y'all know, I have a ton of fun facts that I'm going to save to the end of the video, but I'm going to give this one right now, is that R.L. Grime, despite being the owner, is one of the very few instances of the record label's owner not having the most releases on their own record label. The number 1 artist on Sable Valley when it comes to appearances is actually Juelz. But a couple of the other artists that have released and have become sort of, for lack of better words, the founding fathers and titans of Sable Valley include JAWNS, ISOxo, Knock 2, and Montel 2099. I'm going to throw in John Casey as well. I wouldn't necessarily consider him to be one of the most establishing names on the record label, but he was one of the first. If y'all aren't following John Casey, he has some really sick music on a number of different imprints and record labels. Anyways, let's make our way to 2020. And that was the last song of 2019.
Yeah, they had a pretty
it was a strong start.
Yeah, strong start. I mean, not a lot of releases in their first year, but like for so many of them to hit that hard.
All right. Moolah.
Sheesh. Now this is like, I think the strongest start you could have to a year.
This is really funny. They uploaded the D&B mix twice, but one of them has 112,000 streams and the other has 86.
Awesome.
Sable Valley could not quite catch a break. 2020 was quite the year to be had. But considering everything, they still managed to put out some of the biggest songs and some of the biggest moves for the record label. 2020 started off with Eliminate's Mula, which, as mentioned in the clip, absolutely massive that A, they got Eliminate on the label, B, this was off the heels of the incredibly successful year that Eliminate had, and C, 2020 brought the introduction of the first 2 EPs on the record label, that being from Montel 2099 and from Juelz, but also the very first Summer Volume compilation. Generally speaking, Sable Valley is made up of just singles, EPs, 2, technically 3 LPs, and then a series of summer compilations that are released once a year. I'm jumping a bit ahead by saying that they haven't released one this year, but it's a very safe assumption that they will release one this year at some point. But after establishing the artists that are probably going to be doing the most work in pushing this new record label, this new sound, this new era, for lack of better words, we got a taste of what the underground of trap had at the time. What I really liked about it is that it brought so many different names from so many different walks of music. You had some of the classic trap names like Holly. You had some artists that weren't necessarily known for their trap music, like Kumarian and Effin. And then you even had just Bauer thrown on there, like, you know, we just got Bauer. But it's this huge mishmash of just styles, artists, and wide array of names that I think made the compilation just that much more exciting and something to look forward to.
What was the first time you ever heard of Juelz?
Monster Cat.
Yeah, Cobra, right?
Mm,
It was Tails and Juelz. Cobra.
wasn't there a Reach and Juelz? Or am I stupid? No, I'm thinking of Juke.
No.
Whoopsies.
But Cobra was the first thing I'd ever heard from Juelz, or like I'd heard the name in Passion, but it was the first thing I heard. So I was like kind of expecting it to be very like Tails-esque, and then like high octane EP, and I listened to this and I was like, what the fuck?
Also, yeah, that was another one. I thought it was Juelz, not Juelz.
Yeah, I thought so too for a while, and then I heard it in passing. I was just like, okay, I'm just not gonna question it.
Cobra is such a funny release to look back on, especially because I remember it being teased and dropped at Monster Cat Compound 2019. And yeah, basically what iNDiGO said. I'm very surprised when you compare Cobra and then to where Juelz is now. They're like completely different people. But to kind of lean into that topic, one of the things that I've thought about in retrospect is how so many of these artists I just never heard of prior to Sable Valley. JAWNS I had heard of. He used to be known as Gent and JAWNS. Grime is obviously a classic. If y'all haven't heard Core, I don't know what to say about that. Also Juelz, I'm very sorry that I keep mistaking you with Jupe. But also Reach and Juelz, alright, I feel like that could go crazy. But just to quickly wrap up the topic, man, Monster Cat, y'all had Juelz. We could have had more Juelz ages ago. Anyways, I guess we did get Control Freak. But once again, I am kind of jumping ahead. Let's just wrap up the year real quick. So we are now in 2021, and that's Remnant.exe Singularity. Alright, so where we last left off was Nina Jirachi. And
Let's go.
something that was interesting about this release, I don't know if maybe you know a bit more about it.
Was
The
it
Nina,
like co-label?
yeah, NLV Records.
I don't know. I feel like it might have been like Nina Jirachi was like signed exclusively with them or something. That's my speculation. So we're on the Control Freak one. Let's go.
I'm not a fan of Control Freak dubstep, but I am a fan of Control Freak trap.
I'm so happy with the direction that James went with this project. Like straight up. Like Control Freak dubstep was like cool, but it wasn't like anything insane. Now like Control Freak trap though, that's like next level.
I said I was going to mention Control Freak later, and admittedly I completely forgot about that clip. But yes, Control Freak kind of had a bit of a dubstep era. Just going to re-record this part. Most notably with their Ray Volpe collaboration on Never Say Die, as well as their 2 Roundtable EPs before they had won the biggest remix contest of all time for the Virtual Riot track, Pray for Rhythm. Anyways, back to the video. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Admittedly, I wasn't really a big fan of Control Freak. I really did like the Leotrix and Control Freak collab, which really makes me wonder, man, I would love if Control Freak and Leotrix revisited and made another collab, but in this new trap style, especially with how much Leotrix has refined their style since then. I don't know, food for thought. Alright, first track of the year, Imanu John Casey, Kotaro.
Oh, god damn, this one was a banger.
I'm not going to sit on 2021 for too long, but there are a couple things that I am going to highlight really quickly. As mentioned from earlier on in the discussion, Nina Jirachi was another cross-label release, which again, super cool to see Nina Jirachi on Sable Valley. Something that I had observed with Sable Valley compared to many other record labels, and even for record labels that started in 2019, 2020 is around the time where if you had started a record label in that time, the established ones at least from established artists, it is very uncommon to find music from 2020 onwards that I would consider to be poorly aged. I never want to say that electronic music has plateaued, and I don't even mean that in a bad way. I think it's really interesting to see how much electronic music has grown from 2010, 2014, 2017, 2019, 2021. We're reaching a point where a lot of music is around the same when it comes to production quality, and that's not a bad thing. I mean, maybe it's a bad thing, who knows? The thing that I'm trying to get at is that we're no longer dictating whether an artist is good by the quality of their music, and I mean objectively like sound quality, and more on like, is the music interesting? Is the music engaging? It's not necessarily a sound design flex anymore, it's more interesting the composition of a song. I'm not here to say all music sounds the same, but all music has reached a level of quality that is very similar. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because when you compare it to many other record labels that have had established themselves way earlier, many years prior, there's undoubtedly a couple of years where they're just releasing not great music. And that's not a bad thing to say. I think most people will admit that if they had released music in 2014, 2016 maybe even, there's gonna be bad music. At least depending on the genre. For example, if we're talking like on the terms of Monster Cat, 2011 to 2014, there's just objectively not well-produced music. 2014 to 2016-17, the music is better produced, but it got to a point where nearly all the music was objectively well-produced to a certain degree. I'm not going to point names at any particular dubstep label, but almost every dubstep label has had just a very horrendous couple early beginner years, for lack of better words. Sable Valley for me, quality-wise, every song is great. I can't recall hearing a song on Sable Valley that I thought was just not well-produced. Now that said, because of that, every song sounded the same, quality-wise. So because Sable Valley was already starting from such a high point of quality, a lot of the artists were very samey. You couldn't set them apart quality-wise, so you had to set them apart either by particular styles of the genre that they were producing, maybe particular sound design techniques or styles. And 2021, specifically the later half of that year, was probably the year where I feel like they really started to become self-sustaining. Not just in that the music that they were releasing was performing very well, but also that the artists were actually able to make a name for themselves and were able to stand on their own feet. I think one of the most important debuts of this year was actually the Deadcrow double single, Fallout and Thera. But more importantly was probably the ISOxo EP, Night Realm. That and of course the annual Summer Volume Comp. I remember watching this Instagram reel about how ISOxo and KNOCK 2 in 2021 really had their momentum rolling at this point. And then even more so when they got to 2022. I'll include it if I find it, but if not, editor's note, let's just go on to 2022.
This is like the point where like I think I've said this before, but we've like kind of crossed into the realm of Sable Valley where I have not only just listened to these tracks, I have listened to them like religiously.
So the first half is all KNOCK 2, the second half is all ISO. Okie dokie.
Yeah, the first half is KNOCK 2 remixing the entire Night Realm EP, and then the second half is ISO remixing the entire 2 Hearts EP.
Yeah. Oh, Night Realm, 2 Heart. Okay. Now, I know I said that 2021 was around the year where Sable Valley and the artists on it started to become self-sufficient, but on the other end of the spectrum, I would also say that 2022 was basically more of the same of 2021. If we were talking purely just on releases with no names attached, they actually had less releases, at least less exciting, I guess, for lack of better words. It was just singles and a comp. That was until you realized that they released an LP, a collaborative LP, and a collaborative cross-label, technically, LP, ISOxo and KNOCK 2's Night Hearts, or ISOKNOCK. If y'all haven't seen, these two artists are basically best friends. They've been touring together. They collaborate. They remix each other. They are a powerhouse duo. I would say ISOxo is more synonymous with Sable Valley, but KNOCK 2 is probably more in line with Night Mode. I have a lot of different thoughts just because I've been kind of connecting a lot of dots. So I'm going to try to be as concise and straightforward as possible. The Nightheart Remix LP is actually 2 EPs, one from ISOxo, that being Night Realm, and one from Knock 2, that being Two Hearts. Hence my realization in that previous clip. I know, not my brightest moment. Now, as we've already established, Night Realm by ISOxo was a Sable Valley release. So Knock 2 were remixing all of those tracks, pretty cool. Two Hearts, on the other hand, not a Sable Valley release. It was technically a self-release. It was released with CMG, which is interesting for a note I will highlight later. Now, of course, Sable Valley is a record label, but my main thesis here is that Sable Valley is not so much a tool, and I guess more of a platform, a medium, that manages to execute and make things that normally would probably be caught up in a lot of bureaucracy when it comes to copyright and licensing and, you know, doing all the correct things necessary. Partially. In this specific case, one of the things that I want to just quickly point our eyes to is rare breed artists. That is the source underneath the Two Hearts EP. When you look at what Rare Breed Artists are, Rare Breed Artists is a management group. They manage some pretty interesting and exciting artists, including Eliminate, Peekaboo, ISOxo, Knock 2, and Cool Customer. Now that's a pretty stacked lineup. I think it'd be really cool if we knew who ran Rare Breed Artists. Now check a look at this. Astronaut. The same astronaut who was released on Monster Cat, who has ran Disciple Records, and is also a co-founder of Night Mode. I actually didn't know they were a co-founder. I thought they were just like an A&R. But wait, there's more. Disciple was acquired by CMG. I think, put a source pending. I'll put on the screen exactly what it was. I actually could not find a single on the record source, but the only thing I could trace it down to was that after Modestep had left Disciple, either he or somebody else at that point had mentioned that Create Music Group had acquired Disciple. So unless we're all having massive hallucinations, it may or may not be true. So I guess just take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. The last thing I'm going to throw in, which I kind of mentioned and teased earlier, was that Knock 2 got a ton of success on Night Mode with their track Dash Star. They did proceed to release an EP and then a deluxe EP, which just had 2 more remixes on it of the original EP. I guess the main thing that I'm trying to get at is that there are a lot of connecting dots here. A lot of things are a lot more interconnected than what it looks like at face value. And I'm not trying to imply any sort of conspiracy or any foul play. If anything, they are on a roll. They are on a generational run. They are gaming. I just think it's really cool. That's really the main reason I wanted to highlight that. But back to my main thesis. Nightheart is the culmination of what Sable Valley was meant to be. They've got really cool talent, and they're gonna make it work. They are going to get those artists into everybody's eyes, into everyone's minds, and it's working. I'm even gonna do a bit of a hot take. I don't love their music. There are definitely some really great tunes, but their branding, their energy, it's so energetic, it's so contagious. Even if for whatever reason, which I can't really understand myself why I don't love their music, the fact that they are doing so well is just so exciting. For the scene, for the music, I just think it's really cool. I feel like that's the quintessential reason of why Sable Valley exists. And this kind of leads into going into 2023, because we've had the success of ISOxo and Knock 2, but that's not where the success ends. Sable Valley is a jumping off point, and it will continue for not just those 2 artists, but also, as I mentioned, the other quote-unquote founding artists, and as well as the new talent that will be coming on. And 2023 is the year where I personally think really gets interesting. More releases, more variety, and more really cool music. How you feeling?
A bit tired, but good.
Do you want to break in 2023 or?
How much we got left?
This year there has been 90 songs, and that's as of the Deadcrow EP. So there's probably 100 this year. Today we have listened to 28 songs.
Let's go 2 more. Let's break 30.
All right. Pauline, Herr, Violet.
Yeah, this is definitely the era of Sable where they started putting up a lot more stuff that wasn't just trap. Started taking a lot more fun stuff.
Well, I see what's up next.
Oh my god.
All right, Pauline, Herr, JSYK.
Just
Just so you know.
Just
This is Wink new kid, but it's like new kid.
Oh, okay. We're in this era. We've been in 2023, right?
Yeah, we're in 2023. This is March.
Okay. This is.
Hold on.
This is.
Skip this. We'll wait until we get to the EP of Wink, and then play it all in one go. Because that's the first song
True.
Okay.
on that playlist.
Wait, so I have a question. Yeah. Wink no longer has this formatting. So is it literally Wink EP?
Yeah. It's a self-titled EP.
Wink and you'll miss it.
Well, it wasn't a self-titled EP. Now it is.
Yeah.
I also have another question. I was scrolling up because I was writing down names. Sable Valley, in the same double single, formatted ASCII 2 different ways.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. One of them's like all capital, and one of them only capitalizes the first letter. All right, we're skipping New Kid. We're going Run by G-Book UFO, or featuring UFO.
You didn't put an exclamation mark on that.
UFO.
Fun fact: this song was not originally a Sable Valley release. Wink released this independently like a year before this, and just threw it on the EP. That's why it has overwhelmingly more plays than the rest of the songs, or it did at least when it came out. Yeah, see, 100K.
Just gonna slide that one in there, just not by Sable Valley.
Yeah, it came out like a year ago, and I guess Sable wanted it, or they were like, hey, maybe throw this on there.
Say, why not?
Because I mean, it does bang. It do bang though.
Is there a reason for why Wink is stylized the way it is now? I'm guessing it's just search engine optimization.
Yeah, probably. Just because, like, I mean, it's fucking is annoying as hell to do that. And I mean, they did do like a brand overhaul, like a sound overhaul as well. They used to do like dubstep, remember?
Nope.
Oh, they used to do dubstep. Like they won the fucking they were on that mega collab Battle of the Bros remix that won.
Oh, I remember that, yeah.
And they had like collabs with like Resurge and a lot of people in that realm. Mm-hmm. And then like they started popping off in their trap stuff. They actually took their name off of that Battle of the Bros remix.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one. Oh, it says it on SoundCloud. It doesn't say it on Spotify anymore. But that's also a lineup for a remix.
Congrats to Disciple for hitting 200K.
Congrats, Disciple. So good. It's so good. It's so good. Okay, Angel, do you see now what I mean by like JAWNS' evolution since like the first Sable Valley releases to now?
Yeah.
How like the first ones were cool, but now like they're sick. Now they're awesome.
Now they're ill.
Yeah, now they're ill. Oh, ill.
Yo. Shout out Skype. What is this photo?
What?
The album cover.
Floor space.
The album's called Floor Space. Look at all that floor space.
Fair enough.
Look at them go.
You can see this was tiled and tessellated. These two.
Yeah, this was practically done. This was a real big floor.
I thought
this. Yo, shout out.
I was gonna ask, like, is this a real place I can go to? You know?
Yo, shout out Blender.
Man, what does that look like a real place to you?
At first, yeah, thought so. I didn't realize that was floor first, to be honest.
That is like 80,000 football fields worth of floor, bro. I don't know what the f you mean.
Real
go to Juelz. Go to Juelz real quick. Trying to find some error. Foot's not clipping in the floor, is it?
No.
Oh, he's chilling.
I mean, it's probably like this smaller, like bottom left quadrant, and then they just extrapolated it.
Damn, sorry, it couldn't be real enough.
You see the one on the left right there with the two squares?
Yeah.
If you look at that entire square, it's like roughly the same color as the one above, like in the same spot, like it's darker on the right.
INDiGO, you know what this means? Album ruined. All right, a flop.
That's dog. You're including that in the video.
Yeah. Here is where the video would have ended. Technically, not even. When we started this marathon, we started before RL Grime even started rolling out the singles for his album. Prior to the first single of the album being rolled out, Sable Valley had 168 songs, and by the end of the album rollout, Sable Valley had 191 songs. As of this recording, Shadient and Nico's Lonesome has come out, and we are at 230 9 tracks, a whole like 70 tracks. So really took us a bit, but we keep going, we keep balling, we rolling. 3 of them are 23 seconds long, so that helps a bit.
Yeah, they're just album intros, because technically Play is 3 albums in one, or 3 pieces.
Oh.
Which is very weird. I don't know why, but I mean, it's cool, I guess. It's like 3 discs or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I can see Apex, Grid,
there's
and Rush.
Dual. Whap, 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 whap. Right, I think like nowadays, people say that like RL and the OGs in trap, they're not putting out stuff at the same level as a lot of the new talent, at least, or at least stuff that's not as engaging. And I think that's got a fair point to a degree, because it's like, I mean, the reason we like the new so much is because it's fresh, right?
Yeah.
That's the reason we gravitate towards them. But I do want to say with RL, with Boombox, Flosterdamus, like all these guys specifically, like the OGs, I think it's also having all of this new talent has also like increased the quality in like their music. And some people will think that's like, oh, it's, you know, because there's now more competition and they got to step their game up. But I don't even think it's that. I think it's just like now that they got like so many new ideas coming about that like they're inspired to try different things and like to up their game up, which I think is awesome. There's some parts with like the OGs, like RL and Boombox specifically, in their writing style, which I think that's what it comes down to, that like feels quote unquote stale, is their writing. Because it's like at the end of the day, it's like, you know, they've been writing like the way that they write for much longer than everyone else. There's nothing like wrong with it. I think it's like, if I had never heard any of RL's older stuff, I think this album would be fucking insane.
Yeah.
I think it's just because I have a lot more to compare it to, is why it sounds a little like, is why it sounds as captivating as a lot of the other new shit. Yeah. I feel like it would be the same thing if ISO had been, you know, at the top of the game for like 15 years. I feel like people would have that same kind of feeling.
Yeah.
But like, this dude's still putting out bangers to this day. And it's like, I also think, how many tracks are on this? I think 3 of them are interludes.
Yeah, there's 24, but 3 of them are intros/interludes, so 21 full tracks.
So that's still 21 tracks. It's like, you know, it's expected that a couple of them aren't going to be at the same level as the rest of them, right?
Yeah.
That's expected. Like, you can't have a 21 track album and expect them all to be bangers. It's just unreasonable. Like, the only track that I know, the only album that I know that is like banger front to back and doesn't have like any kind of sleeve in it is like, there's like very few that I can pick up on, and it's like usually they're no longer than like 10 tracks. It's got some gems in there. That's a Sable Valley reference.
I'm starting the next song.
I think a lot of people expect a lot more of the OGs, but like expect a lot when not realizing like what their biases against them are.
Yeah.
That's not to say like the complaints aren't valid. It's just more like they're more prevalent because of that.
Yeah, I definitely feel that. At least with like RL Grime, he is the reason that these artists are shining. So it's not even like competition. It's like he's happy with the trajectory of how, you know, his companions are doing. Yeah,
like he and Boombox for sure. I feel like the fact that they're like, I think that they're both happy being able to like not even just kickstarting a bunch of people's like new careers and stuff, but like ISO and like SD Water, pretty much them, and like the sound that they pushed, the creativity that they inspired, pretty much brought trap in a whole new renaissance.
Yeah.
I would argue that like trap now is like peak, like more so than it used to be. Like it's reached a new high.
I was too young, so I don't know if I would say it's like peak, but it's definitely coming back up. Like it's been a lull for so long.
I mean, like, I wouldn't even say, like, especially this kind of trap music was ever at a point where it was, like, crazy. I mean, it had its moments. Like, I was too young to see these people live when, even, like, when Core came out, or, like, when the Love Sosa remix dropped and shit. Like, they're fire. But I still think, like, nowadays, is the fact that they were still like big, right?
Yeah.
But I think now is like we've seen a much bigger peak because it's like we're not only just seeing trap bleed into like, or this particular like hybrid trap style like bleed into other genres of electronic because it works so well with everything else. You're seeing people like dip into like techno and but then also like dubstep. People are playing that out. Like everyone will play out an ISO tune, but you also get that now. Like it's becoming more mainstream. Like a year ago now, ISO played a solo set at Outside Lands, and then now the ISOKNOCK just did a Coachella set. Like it's definitely bleeding more into mainstream as well, so it's pretty cool to see. And I think like RL's responsible for like a huge chunk of that.
I'm really happy to see where trap's going. There was a while where I was just like, a crumb of trap music, please.
Now we get Boombox and Frost Top at Lost Lands. When did this album come out?
7 months ago. I was like, I think it was after Lost Lands, but no, it was before Lost Lands. There's some really wonky like low pass bass stuff going on in like the left and right in my ears. Like at the end, it was only low passing the left ear. Monarch remixes.
The Lizdek one comes after. The Lizdek one was released a week later.
Ah, I see. Okay.
For some reason.
They forgot.
I think it might have just been like contract issues maybe. I don't know.
iNDiGO actually reached out to Lizdek, so shouts out to both of them to dig a bit deeper. But the long story short is that Lizdek actually had a release originally on, I believe, the same day that the remix album would have came out. It didn't end up happening anyways, so it just kind of looks like the Lizdek remix was just postponed for no particular reason. But the Lizdek remix was originally to be on the same compilation. So that's that. Thanks, Lizdek.
When did this come out?
15th of November.
Oh, I know the song.
Yeah, I know the original. I straight up did not realize that there was a Frederick remix of this. Is it on all platforms? Yeah, it's not on all platforms.
Correct.
Oh. I see why it's not on all platforms. The samples.
I wouldn't have known this if it wasn't for iNDiGO, but yeah, the Frederick remix of Exodia is a SoundCloud exclusive, or at least just not on streaming platforms. I think there's a bit of humor into the fact that I guess Frederick did not want to release, if I had to assume, was a sample that could not get cleared, and instead of removing said sample, they just released it not on streaming platforms, which, I mean, fair enough. It's the version of the song that he would have wanted to have released. However, I did want to very quickly touch on samples, only because there are some crazy samples that got cleared. There's an ISOxo song, I don't remember the name of the song, but the fact that they got this cleared is crazy to me. And then also the recent More Kismet track. Damn. Oh, we're in 2024. We made it to the new year.
Let's go.
But yeah, kind of to quickly recap, 2023 was their year. And I'm pretty happy that I started following Sable Valley in 2023, because I almost got to feel like I was kind of a part of that, for a lack of better words. Very parasocial of me, I know. But also, as I've mentioned time and time again, trap music was the music that essentially got me into electronic music. At least I give it a big amount of credit for that. Grime was a huge artist that I was following back in the day. So starting to follow Sable Valley almost at the exact same time that he started rolling out his next studio album. On top of that, we had EPs from Wink, we had another summer volume comp, the Juelz LP, the Control Freak EP, the Pauline Herr remix EP. It was a very stacked year for Sable Valley. When I marathoned Elysian Records, I was just very unhappy with the outcome of the video. Not like how the video performed, I just mean like my experience marathoning it. I had a lot of excitement looking forward to marathoning Elysian Records. It was a huge blast of the past and a revisiting of my younger years when I was following EDM music. And then seeing how unceremoniously, how just disappointing Elysian Records and the trap genre kind of fell off at that point, it was kind of sad. I mean, I don't really have any better ways to put it. Sable Valley has rekindled my excitement for trap music, for the artists that are pushing and innovating in the genre. And I'm not gonna lie, 2024 has so far not been that interesting. However, I don't think that's a bad thing. Sable Valley seems to be the kind of record label that releases when they feel like they are ready to release the next thing. They're not on a schedule. They don't seem beholden to any particular quotas. In the first month, they released a single and then a remix LP on the same day, which I thought was an interesting choice. But again, you know, who am I to judge? And then for 3 months, essentially 3 to 4 months afterwards, they just did not release anything. That wasn't until they came back with More Kismet's and Wink's Energy, and then a couple other singles afterwards, followed by the More Kismet EP and the JAWNS EP as well. I didn't know If Found had that in them.
Okay, see, here's the thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
If Found currently is like undergoing the craziest metamorphosis of gargantuan proportions. To put it into perspective, me and Trey Akiro went to go see our buddy Ethan E-Halls open for Midas, right?
Mm-hmm.
And If Found was right before Midas.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, that makes sense, because from what I known about If Found, it's like this kind of, you know, melodic bass, specifically that kind of like Ophelia brand. And I'm like, okay, awesome. I'm cool with that.
I literally only know If Found from their Heaven Sent music.
Our plan was, because like we were pretty tired, but Ethan wanted us to come. We were like, okay, we'll watch Ethan's set. We'll watch a little bit of If Found, because like he's the homie, and then we'll head out.
Mm-hmm.
If Found comes on, wearing fucking white collared button down shirt, black tie, starts rinsing the hardest trap shit imaginable. And I'm just like, what in God's name happened? But like in the best possible way. Like I ended up, like, my plan was to leave halfway through his set, maybe earlier. I ended up staying and going hard in the pit.
I saw If Found, like, okay, I'm expecting like, you know, chord stack dubstep. I was not expecting that. So that's not a one-off is what I'm hearing.
No, he's there will be more, I'd imagine. I'm sure he'll have probably put out like his fucking beam flip that I heard in like 2021, which was crazy. That should have been like my realization that it was coming. Yay!
Whew.
Good remix package. Good remix package.
Yeah, this is like all of these names are within like the same circle, but it also feels extremely diverse, and like you've got the really old guys and then you've got the new talent. There's a little bit of everything.
Vincent's like an OG that had a massive break, I feel like, and then like came the back and is now going like full swing at it again, which is awesome.
I attribute Vincent to me getting into trap back in like 2013-14. So seeing him here, like I was really surprised because I thought like he had finished producing, and then I saw that he started releasing stuff like a year or so ago again.
No, he's been working.
Yeah. And then like he got the remix on Monster Cat too, and I'm just like, my boy.
I want to see more Tiger Drool. That's the thing I want to see out of him.
Tiger Drool?
Tiger Drool, his collab project with Quicks.
Ooh, that does sound interesting. So we just have all the singles now. We're like 7 songs away. 1, 2, 3,
Let's
4,
go.
5. Yeah, 7.
Okay, I don't know why it's a Wave Dash feature, because it's like on the album art it says Wave Dash, on every other platform it says Wave Dash. It's a collab. I don't give a what anyone says.
More Dash or Wave Kismet. We're down to the last song.
Last one. Go.
9 months in the making.
We started this before like half of this was out.
We started, it was right before this release.
The RL album dropped?
No, before the RL singles. Yeah, or like I think when we started, the first RL single came out.
Well, look, we had a whole extra bunch of cool stuff to check out. Let's look at it that way.
And we're here. Present day. If y'all follow me on Twitter, y'all saw that we finished the marathon, and then literally a couple hours later, the More Kismet EP came out. So immediately I was no longer caught up. I don't have any footage of me marathoning or listening. I casually at that point the More Kismet EP, the JAWNS EP, or the Shadient single, nor do I have any insight from iNDiGO on that. But I guess now I'll throw over to final thoughts, our very exasperated, but happy, just happy to make it to the end. Just our thoughts.
We did it. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we started doing this like about 6 months ago. How many discographies have you...
8 months ago.
Okay, how many discographies have you been able to tackle in that amount of time?
Well, I'm gonna say 3.5. So let's see. I probably finished Elysian Records and then started doing Sable Valley, but it would have been Subsidia. And then after Subsidia was Heaven Sent, and then Good Vibrations. And I am almost done HMEWRK, which is a 1,100 song discography. I'm at 800 right now. And you probably vaguely recall that during that time, I was also working on like a massive... We really hauled here at the end. So yeah, around 2,000 songs, not including the... But listen, we did it. It's the journey. Maybe the Sable Valley discography was the friends we made along the way, you know?
Yeah. Totally. Any final thoughts? Well, you're probably gonna do that in like a whole, and like talk to the camera and you're something on the TV behind you. It's cool to see how far Sable has progressed in terms of its sound. Like obviously it started pretty high up to begin with, right? Mm-hmm. It had like a pretty solid start, but then like I think a lot of people were able to solidify their sound through Sable. And like, I mean, JAWNS is a very good example. Like JAWNS's first Sable releases are very bare bones to compare to like what he puts out now. Like the ideas are there, but it's like
he's warming up. He's just getting started.
Yeah, and it's like you see that like the progression of Juelz, Nerdleaf, Sable Valley days. I would have never thought we'd get like some of the stuff that we've seen on Sable recently.
Sable is one of the few record labels where like from the beginning the music was already quality, even if like maybe there wasn't much distinguishing from each other. What's more impressive is where some of the acts that debuted on the label are now compared to when they began. Like some of these artists have like 5 to 7 years to kind of get to where, for example, ISO and KNOCK2 have got into in like a fraction of that.
Some of the tracks on here are also like iconic as
And I think also like Sable Valley came out at a time where just a ton of artists were making their own labels. So I think in that sea of labels, Sable Valley was one that was like, it was cool because it wasn't, at least like most of the artists that I know that are making labels are like dubstep. So this one was like trap, which is different.
Yeah.
And also RL Grime had the street credit for it. But then even with all of that, it still kind of just felt like it was washed under the rug. I would see people would definitely share the debut post, like, you know, the so-and-so was signed to Sable posts that you'd see. Like I'd see those go around, but then like I just wouldn't hear anything about the label. But like now it's like, you still don't really hear about the label, but you hear so much more about the artists that represent the label. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I feel like Sable in terms of its, like, in terms of its roster, it gives me the kind of energy that like old school Monster Cat had, where it's like the artists and label are so synonymous like in their craft, like, or you have like the big ones, or you have the specific like cornerstones, I guess, of the label, like, you know, JAWNS, Juelz, I mean obviously RL, but like even ISOKNOCK, I guess at this point. Well, maybe they're growing out of it, but like anytime you'd bring up their names, you would be thinking like Sable would come up.
Yeah,
because it's like it's very much in the same
conversation universe.
Yeah,
we did it.
We did in fact do it. What now?
I have a couple more stats that I haven't had in prior videos, so I'll throw those in as well. Sable Valley has 239 songs. The longest song on the record label is an old one. It's by Hellbound, Are You Ready?, which is 6 minutes and 17 seconds. There's only one other song on the record label that is 6 minutes or longer, that being Disaffected's Bisler, or BSLIR. I don't know if that's supposed to be sounding out for anything. The 6 shortest songs on the label are all either album intros or a reprise, that being Juelz Rewind reprise, Juelz Fingertips intro, Montel 2099 intro, and then RL Grime's Play trademarked Apex, Grid, and Rush. Those three are tied for the shortest songs, all for 23 seconds. So if you don't want to count any of those intros or reprises, the shortest song on the label is Juelz New Ground featuring Killy AI, 2 minutes and 6 seconds. In the first year of Sable Valley, 2019, they released 9 songs. In 2020, they released 27 songs. The year afterwards, they released 35 songs. In 2022, they had released 34 songs, one less. And then in 2023, 104 songs. They really ramped it up. This year so far, 30 songs. So, bit of a fall down. Assuming they release another album, the compilation, and a couple more singles, it's a safe bet, I would say, that they're going to hit around the ballpark of 60 to 70 songs. But who knows? We will see. Sable Valley's entire discography is 13 hours, 38 minutes, and 27 seconds, which really puts into perspective, how did I have like 20 hours of recorded footage? How did we do that? What the heck? Average song length on Sable Valley is 3 minutes and 25 seconds. The number of artists that have debuted on the record label is 118 artists. Starting backwards as we normally do, there have been 17 artists that have been credited with a feature or a production credit, and all of them are tied with 1 credit. There have been 31 artists that have been credited with making a remix or a VIP, but of those 31-ish artists, 4 artists have had more than 1 remix, that being Juelz and Grime with 2 remixes, and then ISOxo and KNOCK with 5 remixes. We count albums as EPs or LPs, or even remix EPs and remix LPs. We've had 11 artists that have dropped albums, with only Juelz being the only one with 2. As for individual tracks, there have been 5 artists with more than 10 of them, so I'll only be highlighting them, but I'll include a full list on the screen somewhere. But shoutouts to Deadcrow with 11 tracks, Montel2099 with 12 tracks, JAWNS with 12 tracks, Grime with 22 tracks, and Juelz with 25 tracks. Meanwhile, with appearances, the list changes just a little bit, throwing in ISOxo way up in the lead, but dropping down just a little bit, we've got Pauline, Herr with 12 appearances, Deadcrow with 12 appearances, JAWNS with 12 appearances, KNOCK with 13 appearances, Montel2099 with 13 appearances, ISOxo with 19 appearances, Grime with 36 appearances, and Juelz with 42 appearances. Lastly but not least, the number of releases on the record label have been 101. There have been 81 singles, 11 EPs, 4 LPs, although 2 LPs are just normal LPs, and then 2 of them are remix LPs, 9 double singles, and 4 compilations. Let's throw it over to Duality and iNDiGO with their final thoughts. Not going to bother setting up, just going to record it handheld, but that's basically everything that we have to say. We both watched the video in full, and we, for the most part, covered everything that we wanted to say. Sable Valley is a super cool and innovative label. It's got me excited for the trap genre again, and I'm super looking forward to whatever Sable Valley has to offer in the near future. As y'all are familiar with every single one of my marathon videos, I also include a playlist of my personal favorites of my marathon. If you guys wanted a quick jump into what the Sable Valley record label has to offer, you can find that playlist in the description down below. I also want to try to make an actual mix of my top picks. I don't know why I stopped doing that for my record label marathons, but I do want to get back into the swing of things. And once again, thank you so much to iNDiGO for making this marathon experience a lot more pleasurable than some of my other ones. As I mentioned earlier, consider giving them a follow on Instagram, check out their record label Antithesys, stream simulcats, of course. And lastly, would I recommend marathoning Sable Valley? Yes, that is a resounding yes. I would definitely recommend checking them out. Old music, new music, whatever you feel like doing, I give them the thumbs up. Anyways, the video is going to end right here, but I do have a funny moments compilation right after this, so if you want to stick around and see some of the stuff that didn't quite make the full video but I thought was pretty funny, you can check that out. Otherwise, thanks so much again. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see y'all in the next one. See ya.
Is it actually that choppy? I can't tell if it's your stream or the song.
No, it is that choppy. I can link it if you want.
Okay.
So I have a playlist for every label that I marathon, and I'm thinking I gotta make one for Sable Valley so I can start adding songs to it. And I was gonna ask what image you think I should use.
It should be the pride flag. It should be called Sable Valley.
Yo.
Can I? Okay, this is the one I want. Shit. My God. What the?
Look at all those things.
Oh my God!
following
Look
you.
at this.
What if we go back
Whoa, these
in?
are all familiars. Holy dude, what the? I'd like it to be known that I killed the final boss in one hit.
Nathan's asking me to join a voice chat in the Wildcat server.
We can continue it there and have like more people
Sure,
give their
I'm
opinions.
down.
I want to hear what people have to say about Sable Valley too, and then beat them up if I don't like their opinions.
The only good song on this there's 2 good songs on this comp. Hold on, I have to.
I'm like staring at your profile picture like with rage right now.
That's a picture.
What is it? It's like a wheat, like salt thing. Like it's not like a. It's like a. I don't
That's
even know
a
how to
wheat
describe
thin.
wheat. How do you describe a wheat thing?
I vote skip.
I don't vote skip. Veto.
No, wait, games.
Let's listen to this.
Oh wait, not to. Me when I'm a microwave.
Real.
Me when the carbon monoxide meter needs new batteries.
It's the box, but the microwave cover.
When the UPS truck outside is backing up.
24/12 for a SWAT. I just hit the lick with the box.
DJ Ride.
You ride these nuts,
Bruh.
bruh. Is this the hardstyle one? Yep. Tell me it's a Deadcrow track without telling me it's a Deadcrow track.
Iron Sun next by Sorcery. Or Sorcery. Oh, Sorcery. Gotcha.
Wait, what?
Like, I imagine it's like the word sorcery.
I always said sorry.
Oh.
Holy fuck. You just opened my mind. I'll be honest, when I first heard this fucking song, I didn't know what the word blicky meant. So, I mean, you know that blicky means like done, right? Pretty much.
A sticky fart circa 1960.
Yes, yes. I looked up what blicky meant, and that was the first thing that came up.
Yeah,
That was the first thing that came up. So now anytime I hear this song, I think of that definition. Pulls up on the block with a wet fart, bro.
I'm gonna pause it for 1 second. They typoed fucking Sid in the description.
FNK. Funkin' Sid.
Yo, funkin' Sid, alt alias. Next up we got Artemis by Sokka. Suck on these nuts, LMAO! Ah!
You're crazy.
I just
Yeah,
realized,
how's the Pokemon Go going for you?
yeah, I just realized I've had game sounds on this whole time. I should turn that down? My bad. I couldn't hear it through the music.
The song is ending. I just hear the noises. Oh, your stream. Your stream.
Discord actually died.
Yeah, it was too much. It was too powerful.
Yo, I'm sorry to keep y'all waiting. I need a few more minutes and then I'll be right back and we can finish the remaining songs.
Yeah, you're still
Absolutely.
recording, right?
No
I am still
problem.
recording, yeah.
All right, awesome. We
Alright,
said
sick.
every slur in the book.
It is recording, but I was deafened.
Yeah,
let me get the list.
Are you also disappointed that there's no sex in Fortnite?
Yeah, Angel, you disappointed there's no sex in
You know
Fortnite?
what? I always held on to hope, but as somebody said in the replies, they only said there was no sex in Festival Fortnite. So we still have
Yeah.
a chance that the other game modes will get sex.
One day we'll get the sex update.
Jesus Christ.
Third one.
Oh, thank God. Oh my God,
Fake out.
what?
Fake out.
That's actually stupid.
And now scroll back up. And scroll down again. And scroll back up one more time.
Pro left?
Perfect.
Wait, hold on, I can do this. Left. I can't go left. Oh, left. Right?
Oh, shit. That was right. Left. This is positive affirmations. The song. I am the gas. Yes.
We need a version of this song, but it's got like the 2023 meme slang.
I got the Riz.
True. I got the
Riz.
You got the Riz.
You got the Riz.
You got the
Bro,
gas.
my fucking coworkers have been doing that all fucking week, dude.
Recording. You want to see something real quick?
Pokemon Legends Z.
Nah, Pokemon Legends Zaza. Yeah. 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 Wheel up. Damn, that last part lasted too short.
Techno banger. Techno banger. Techno banger. Techno banger.
Aha, if you remove control, it makes Freak at Night.
Damn. This is where you intercut footage of me. I'm gonna. Alright, quote me on this, alright? I'm gonna go see Control Freak in 2 weeks.
Uh-huh.
And I'm gonna finish this exact sentence while I'm over there, and you can. I forgot. I forgot to do it.
Yo, look at this glazing over here. Sable Valley is, what is he, RL Grime's biggest fan?
That's crazy.
Don't worry about it.
That makes the video for sure. God damn it.
Guys, do you think that? Guys, I think this is the year that DMV comes back to the States.
I don't know if you've seen this meme, where it's like, it's a really stupid one, but it's like you'll just take something mundane, and then swap one of the words or turn it to like freaky. So it'd be like, imagine if Five Nights at Freddy's was Freaky Nights at Freddy's, and then I freaking read Control Freak, and I'm just like, I'm ruined.
Like, without the context of I read Control Freak, that was the weirdest segue from absolute nothing to that. Oh, that remix is so good.
That was really freaking good. I never heard that song before. That was really freaking good.
No, let's deck for real. Nick, if you're watching this, fuck you. Yay, bad luck. Let's go. I was very surprised with this drop.
Mm-hmm.
The drop of the original is so like bombastic.
Mm-hmm.
So comparatively, it's a very interesting change of pace. It's also really funny during that drop. You heard the background vocal,
That was probably like the driest techno I've ever heard, but it was really cool.
Yeah, it was weird that there was like no. It's like techno, but not in a big club. It's like literally
In my
your
closet.
closet.
Yo.
Yeah.
OMG anthem.
I'm a guy.